Hello, my name is Gilad from Tulip, and today I'm going to explain how you use the Logbook app suite. Starting with the Logbook app suite terminal, which we have in front of us here, you have access to all the applications or the apps that are part of the Logbook app suite. The apps are divided into two main categories: configuration and management, and operations and logging. In this video, I'm going to focus on the configuration and management part of it. This is where we use apps to configure the equipment and the logbooks for each of these equipments. So let's start. Starting with the log equipment management, we'll go to the application, the app, and here we see the list of equipment that's currently configured. We can add new equipment, or we can update or change existing equipment. In this case, I'm going to add a new piece of equipment. I click the add button. Obviously, the first thing we need to do is give it a name. I'm going to give it M007. It's going to be a filler type. You can see there are a number of other types of equipment configured that you can change if you need to. And a status. Let's start with maintenance. The location, Suite 2, and we can upload a photo for this equipment. I have found a filler, an equipment, a photo of an equipment that is a filler, and I'm adding it to the equipment configuration here. And now we have a complete configuration. A few other things that you can see here are the QR code, and also if you want to link this equipment to any of the machines configured as part of your instance. For now, we're going to add this equipment, and you can see it's added here. Now, once we have this equipment, we can update it, which basically opens the same step again. And what we'll do here is I'm going to create a QR code for equipment, and then I'm going to save it again. And so now the equipment has a QR code. In case you want to delete or remove an equipment, we have the disable button. When you disable a piece of equipment, you're really not deleting it, you're just not making it viewable. And that is because that equipment may have history records associated with it that we don't want to get rid of. So once you disable it, it basically flags it not to show in this app or this app suite, but it will always be there in case you want to look at the history in the log. Other things that are in this app that you will actually see on most of the other apps in the suite is these two buttons, the log and the history. The log is like the audit trail of this app. It shows us what we've done as part of the app. You can see that on today at this time I've updated the piece of equipment M004 and the QR code, etc. In the same manner, we can look at the history. There's a bit more of an in-depth view into the record. So we have M004. Maybe we should actually go and look at M007. That's the one I just added. So M007, you can see the information of it. And here is the record history viewer widget that basically gives us a chronological list of everything that's changed at this to this record, including any completions that app have logged against it. Okay, so now we've completed a view of this app. We've added M007, and you can see that all the apps have an icon here on top. And when you click on this, it takes you back to the main navigation screen or the Logbook app suite terminal. So we have configured equipment. At this point, let's configure the logbooks for that equipment. So I'm going to go to the logbook management. And here again, we can see the equipment list. If I click on 07, we can see the status, the suite, and this. And we can see that currently there are no logbook fields configured for the equipment. In this app suite, the way you configure a logbook for a piece of equipment is by attaching fields to the equipment. Each of these fields determine what you need to do in the logbook. Let me explain further. So we're going to add our first field. Equipment 007, we're going to have a field name, and let's call this field instructions. I'm going to choose I'm going to choose from a field type. So we can see there's a certain number of field types. Field types define what this field does, and I'll just go over it quickly. A field of type number means that when somebody is executing Logbook, he's going to be required or requested to enter some numeric value or a measurement. A field of type text will require or ask him to enter some text, like a description, etc. A selection will give him a selection field to choose from. A perform is really like an acknowledgement, and basically acknowledge that you've done something. And an e-signature, as the name implies, is an e-signature. Let's start with perform. Perform is a simple acknowledgement of an instruction. So we'll add that initially, and now we have to give the details of that perform field for equipment 007. The text is the instruction. Please make sure so that's the text that I'm going to require now and of course I can define whether this field is required or not. In a perform type field, the user will be asked to acknowledge that he's read. If it's required, we're going to require that he acknowledges it. If not, not. I can also add additional images to this field in case that I have extra information that I want to display. For example, I have a flowchart which I want him to look at as part of this field. And so I've completed this instruction page. I'm going to make it required, and I hit update. Now we can see that M007 has one field. It's called instruction and perform yes. At this point, let's add another one. In this case, I want him to maybe do a visual inspection, and therefore I'm going to ask him to give me a selection of choices based on the visual inspection. I'm going to hit add, and again, it's going to go into the details. So, what is the state, let's call it cleanliness state of the equipment, cleanly. It's required, and I'm going to add dirty, clean, semi-dirty, and for giggles, filthy. So those are the choices he's going to have. Again, we can upload an image. And I'm just going to find something that is reasonable here as instructions, and hit update, and now we have created a selection field. Now let's add a numerical field. So we want him to get the temperature maybe. Option, this is a number, I'm going to add. Please record the temperature. In this case, we can also have a video to display if needed. We're going to make this field required. What's the unit of measure? Well, it's degrees Celsius, and let's say that we're allowing a temperature range between 23 and 32. In this case, I'm not going to have an image. I'm just going to leave it as this. So now I have three fields: instruction, visual inspection, and temperature. And lastly, when he's done, I may want to add a signature. So this is a signature step, and the details here is the reasons I want him to choose a signature reason. So first, please sign for completing let's find an image. I don't have necessarily this, but let's just assume this is a relevant picture, and we'll add thing. Signature reason, complete, and maybe or not, sorry, I'm going to include partial complete, in case that we want to stop in the middle and not do the thing. So this is the signature. And so now we have basically a complete logbook. The filler, you start with an instruction. We can take a look at it. It says this with that. Visual inspection. Notice that I'm clicking on the update field in order to view. If I don't want to make any changes, I'm going to cancel. Temperature here. Let's say I want to make this more strict. So I'm going to put 27 and update it. And the signature is here again. Once we have created fields as part of the logbook, we can't delete them. We can only disable. This is again in case that already has been logged some measurement or history to any of these fields. We just want to disable them and not delete them. At this point again, you can see that we can take a look at the log, and it shows everything that I've done. You can see the fields that I've added as part of an audit trail of this app. And in this case, we have a button here that actually navigates straight to the logbook for the equipment. We can also go back to the main screen through here. At this point, we've configured a machine or equipment, M007, and a number of fields for them. In the next video session, I will explain how we use that logbook with the two apps, the equipment logbook app, which is what the operator will use to execute the logbook, and the logbook review app, which helps us to see how the logbook was executed and release equipment for use.